Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. A rough one for Purdue on Saturday as it falls 56-30 in South Bend. Purdue falls to 2-2 on the season. We'll look at what went wrong, what went all right, and much more from the Shillelagh game here today. Let's dive on in. If you don't already, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. Lots talking about there. It's a bye week, but there's no shortage of stuff to talk about with basketball practice starting. Follow there and send me questions. Send me your football, send me your basketball questions there. You can also email the show, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss an episode. We'll be here every week all the way through the end of basketball season and beyond. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. All right. Notre Dame 56, Purdue 30. Purdue loses its 10th straight game in the Shillelagh series. Purdue loses its second straight game here, falling to 2-2 at the 1/3 mark of the season. A bye week on deck for Purdue to regroup a little bit here. This game was a big point spread for a reason. Depending where you got it, Purdue covered, Purdue didn't. The times it was 26.5. I think it closed at 24.5. So, whether Purdue covered or not depends on the number you received, but it was a backdoor cover. Notre Dame really controlled this game, and it comes back to the line of scrimmage. That's where football games tend to be won and lost, and Notre Dame absolutely dominated this game at the line of scrimmage. Purdue now has gone 9 straight quarters without forcing a punt on defense. The last time a Purdue opponent punted was in the third quarter of the Southern Illinois game. That's not good. That's not good at all. I thought against USC, Purdue did some okay things on defense when the field condensed. The classic bend, don't break type of defense where USC settled for 5 field goal attempts. In this game, there was none of that. Notre Dame was able to control the line of scrimmage. Notre Dame was able to run all over Purdue. And with that, Purdue just didn't have a chance. Notre Dame runs for 254 yards to a tune of 6 yards per carry. Just explosive runs left and right. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. Purdue didn't have a chance of stopping them. And when you're allowing Notre Dame to run the ball that successfully, it sets up just the kill shots in the passing game where Notre Dame was just all over Purdue. CJ Carr goes 10 of 12 for over 200 yards. He goes 10 of 12 for 233 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, even if you take away that kill shot on the first play of the game, it's still a performance where Purdue just could not slow down Notre Dame's offense. And while Purdue's offense performed admirably, you put 30 points on the board. If you told me that before the game, I would have felt pretty decent about this, about Purdue competing, probably not winning, but competing. But defensively, Purdue was just really, really overwhelmed. It's becoming a trend here. Purdue did well at forcing field goal attempts last week, but there were still signs that, USC moved the ball pretty easily down the field. Here, this was kind of the breaking point where Purdue just couldn't get stops, couldn't get off the field. Purdue did have a 4th down stand there late in the game. Purdue did have the strip sack there before the rain delay. But as a whole, the defense was not enough to give Purdue a chance. It wasn't. And if this game wasn't over, Notre Dame might be closer to 70 points in this one because Notre Dame put the backups in, had a 4th down or 2 get stopped. I can't remember now. 2 4th downs get stopped there in the 4th quarter. But it was telling right away. Purdue gets the ball first. Notre Dame kicks it out of bounds on the opening kickoff. And you're feeling like, okay, you've got some field position here, but Purdue has 2 straight runs go nowhere. It has a 15-yard penalty on Jalen St. John for putting his hands up on a face mask. I mean, just a dumb penalty. And while Purdue does have a nice punt, Jack McAllister's really good, great punt. Notre Dame hits a play-action bomb to Malachi Fields. He gets past Tony Grimes. And at that point, it was just a big blow. It was just a big blow. And I give Purdue credit for battling back. Purdue never quit. And that's something that when you look at last year to this year, it's not an entirely fair comparison to make a lot. It's a new coaching staff. It's largely a new team. But when Notre Dame started pouring it on Purdue last year, Purdue just utterly quit, and it never really cared again the rest of the season. It never showed fight the rest of the season. Did a few okay things, but largely Purdue didn't do anything the rest of the year. Purdue battled back here. Purdue came down and scored and tied it at 7. Purdue pulled out all the stops here. You had a fake punt that was successful. You had an awesome trick play there. That handoff to Maccabee, throwback to Brown. I don't know that I've seen a trick play like that before. I really don't. I watch a lot of football, man. I watch a lot of college football, and I don't know that I've seen that before. That was really cool. That was unique. I liked that. Purdue kept fighting. Ryan Brown showed some real resolve, and he continues to. There is a lot to be encouraged about with him. He is not perfect at all. Expecting him to be probably isn't fair either. He has his ups and downs. There's good and bad things that he does, but the guy keeps on fighting, man. I mean, he threw another bad interception here, but then he fights back from it. He throws a touchdown pass or two. He hits a couple deep plays to Nitro Tuggle. He did some good stuff. 21 of 34 for 250, a touchdown and a pick. Pretty good. Pretty good. And I think on the offensive side of the ball, you're seeing Purdue do a nice job of calling plays to fit what it can do. Purdue didn't really try to belabor the point of the traditional run game in this. I mean, you have to do it a little bit to see if you can pop something. But Purdue had no prayer of running the ball against Notre Dame. The final stats will show you that Purdue ran 28 times for 76 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. But that comes with Malachi Singleton as your leading rusher, who didn't play until the fourth quarter. He had 26 yards on 5 carries. So you take that out, and it's basically 2 yards a carry flat. Devin Maccabee carries 12 times for 16 yards, a long of 6. Antonio Harris carries 3 times for 5 yards, a long of 5. These traditional runs that you were trying to get going, they didn't get going. You didn't have a prayer. Your offensive line was just overwhelmed. So Purdue didn't really try to belabor the point. You have 15 traditional runs. That's not that many. Purdue threw the ball a lot, and Purdue does some good stuff in the short passing game. You see Devin Maccabee get 7 receptions. A lot of that there, dump-offs from the backfield. Your receivers, Nitro Tuggle continues to impress. Michael Jackson continues to impress. I really like Tuggle, man. He made a couple of nice catches on deep balls, had the nice 50-50 ball that he went up and got. He's a good player. He's a really good player. He's a redshirt freshman. That was a big-time get out of the portal. He's good, man. He is good. There's a lot to like about him in the future. Jackson, nice veteran, but you had some drops. You had some drops here. You had Rico Walker drop a touchdown pass, and he's only on the field because George Burhan gets hurt again. That's a big bummer. I mean, he's battled injuries a ton throughout his time at Purdue. He went across the middle, got lit up pretty good. I don't know if it was that play that was his last, but he leaves in the second quarter before the rain delay. Rico Walker comes in and drops a touchdown. You had Jesse Watson drop a pass. That's 2 or 3 drops for him on the season now. You can't make mistakes like that in this type of a game. Purdue had to be virtually perfect to have a chance at winning this game, and it was far from it. You had some coverage busts. You knew you were going to have some troubles at the point of attack. Those were pretty rough, maybe a little worse than expected. All in all, on offense, you're okay with what Purdue did. It had to settle for some field goals. A big point in this game was they're coming out of the rain delay when Purdue has 1st and 10 at the 19, has to settle for a field goal, and then Notre Dame brings the kickoff back. Yeah, the holding thing was weird. I don't want to get into conspiracies. You can do the South Bend refs thing a lot. I remember the 2012 Notre Dame team winning like 4 games on questionable officiating in South Bend. It's a thing. It's a thing. Picking up a holding there when there was a pretty clear hold. Whatever. It ultimately doesn't matter. I mean, Purdue wasn't going to win this game, but it's stuff like that on the margins that really starts to stack up for you. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer. That at that point, it was almost the point of no return. That, okay, this happened. Can't win the game at this point. Purdue really needed to stack momentum. And it's the second straight week where Purdue had a rain delay that really hurt its momentum. I don't remember that many rain delays in Purdue football history. I remember 2012 or 2017 against Minnesota, the Jawan Bentley pick 6 game. I remember Virginia Tech in 23. I remember Eastern Illinois, maybe back in 07. I don't remember that many rain delays, lightning delays in Purdue football. And this is now back-to-back weeks, which is kind of crazy. But Purdue scored, and then it forced a fumble, has the ball in the red zone, and then you have the rain delay that really just puts a damper on things. Just like last week, you had some real energy around that game against USC, and then the rain comes, and you're never able to really get it going again. Just a bummer. There's nothing Purdue can do. It's just bad luck. But that's a real bummer. That took the wind out of Purdue's sails a little bit. And then right away, Notre Dame takes that kick to the house, and it just starts to stack up. It starts to stack up. And look, you have some injuries stacking up now. Burren's hurt. I don't know how long he'll be out, but the drop-off from him to the next group at tight ends is pretty big. You saw Rico Walker drop a pass. He's a promising prospect, but he struggled. And your other 2 guys are more of blockers, Moore and Earls. Those guys aren't really receiving tight ends. So you lose one of your better weapons in him. TJ Lindsey's out for the season on the defensive line. That interior was one of the better parts of Purdue's defense, with TJ Lindsey in there, with Chops Harkless in there. Losing him is a big blow. He's a redshirt freshman, but someone who's generated a lot of buzz early on. You lose him for the season, and it's a blow. It's a blow to a defense that really can't afford a whole lot of attrition. It's going to happen. It's football. You're going to have some attrition, but you don't love that. You don't love seeing one of your better players get hurt like that. Going to have to miss the final 9 games of the season. That's a bummer. And you kind of saw it. I don't know that TJ Lindsey would have changed things too much, but at the point of attack, Purdue's defense was completely overwhelmed. It was. And, as I said last week, it's a Jimmy's and Joe's game. And while I think Purdue is much better coached, I think Purdue is much more competent as a football team this year. You watch Purdue trying to go side to side, chasing down Jadarian Price. It doesn't have it. You watch Purdue trying to match up to get to Jeremiah Love in the backfield. It doesn't have it. There's only so much you can do with a limited roster, and Purdue has a little bit of a limited roster. It doesn't mean that Purdue doesn't have a chance. It doesn't mean that good things can't still happen, but there are limitations here that overcoming is going to be a real challenge. You're now 2-2. You lose this game by 26. I've thought a lot this week about the whole Purdue Notre Dame series. I was pretty torn on it, and I still am, because there's value to it. There's value to playing Notre Dame. It means a lot to a lot of people. But my goodness, I don't know what good this is doing. Ideally, you're going to be more competitive in the future, and I think you have every reason to believe that Purdue's going to get better under Barry Odom. I think it was a really good hire. I think there's a lot to like about the future of Purdue football under him. But there's also a lot to like about the future of Notre Dame football under Marcus Freeman. They're recruiting really well. That brand has kind of become cool, a brand that hasn't been cool in a really long time. And you're just getting blown out here. I mean, it wasn't 66-7, but it wasn't really close. I struggle with this. Scheduling is a really hard thing to do. It's really hard to create a perfect schedule because it's reliant on a lot more than just you. But oh boy, I mean, this is a bummer. You know, I don't know. You think about, like, Minnesota played Cal. Illinois played Duke. This is more the stuff that you'd like to be doing, right? You know, Iowa plays Iowa State, who's good, but it's more of a peer level program. Nebraska played Cincinnati as your power conference opponents. You almost wish Purdue could do that, because a game like this, when you enter as a 26-point underdog and, you know, you don't force a punt for the second straight week, boy, I don't know. I don't know. There's validity to playing this game. There's validity to not wanting to play it. I do think Purdue's going to struggle to get this series extended. I have my doubts about that. I think you'd have to look pretty far down the road to extend this series. I don't think this is something where you look at 2029 is when this comes off. You already have 3 non-conference games that year, and you have Power 4 games in 30, 31, 33, and 34 already on the calendar. So if those stand, I don't know that you're adding a second one with Notre Dame. So I think you've got 3 more in this series, and then I think you're going to see it go away for a while. I don't know how many sad Purdue fans there are going to be about that. I really don't. The rivalry doesn't feel like it used to, probably because of the 7-year hiatus. And, you know, frankly, Purdue wasn't close in this game. Purdue did some good things. There are some positives to take away on the offensive side, but it shows you how far Purdue has to go still. It makes you wonder, you know, how the rest of the season's going to go. But this is one of the better teams Purdue's going to play. Notre Dame was 0-2 in name only. That's a really good football team. Notre Dame very well might go 10-2 the rest of the way and make the playoff. It's entirely possible. That's a really good team. And with CJ Carr getting better over time, that defense is limited. You saw it. I mean, Notre Dame's defense didn't want to be giving up 30 points in this game. If you look at the Notre Dame side of this, Notre Dame fans are going to be upset about that. Notre Dame's coaches are probably going to be upset about that because Purdue had opportunities to score more. And that's a little concerning if you're a Domer. But, you know, all the special teams, give Spencer Porath some credit. He has really been good so far this year. He goes 3 for 3. He knocks one in from 48 yards out. I think that was a career long for him. If it wasn't, I'm forgetting one. I think he hit from 45 against Nebraska last year. Give him some credit. Give Jack McAllister some credit. Another really nice game for him. 5 punts, 45 yards a punt. Guy's good. But, you know, the return game, Notre Dame scores a touchdown, had another decent return there. No bueno. No bueno, as they say. You know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. This wasn't a game that anyone expected Purdue to win. This wasn't a game that I don't think you walk away from this humiliated, but you do walk away from this realizing that, boy, got a long way to go here. Purdue has a really long way to go here to get to the point where it's competing in this game. You have a bye week now, probably a really good time for a bye. You're 4 games in. You know a lot about yourself at this point. You know where you're at as a team. You know where you need to improve. And you have some winnable games coming up on the flip side of this. Illinois just got obliterated by Indiana last night. Illinois is going to be a big favorite coming to Purdue, but that team doesn't look unbeatable, and there are some injuries really mounting up there. Minnesota, didn't look great against Cal. Weird game, but Cal just lost 34-0 to San Diego State. Northwestern, winnable game. Rutgers, winnable game. Your October is all games that, at bare minimum, you should be competitive in. You get a bye, regroup, focus on yourself, and get ready for that, because it's a stretch where Purdue can do some really good things. That's the stretch that defines this season. The next 4 games, you have a bye to rest up. The staff's pretty quiet about injuries, but outside of Lindsey and Burren, you have the 2 wide receivers, Morissette and Magwood, that haven't played yet. You're not in too bad of a spot from an injury standpoint. Get healthy, try to work on some things, figure a few things out on defense, and see if you can put together an October that makes this season a success. You get a couple wins there, the season's a success. I think through 4 games, Purdue has shown reason to believe in the future. Purdue has shown reason to be optimistic about what it's doing here. It just is overmatched in some areas that you knew it would be. That it would be an awful big stretch to not be overmatched there, with how much turnover you had, where you're at in the portal, where you're at from an NIL perspective going into this past offseason. It was a lot to ask of Purdue. Now you're in a more defined spot. You know a little bit more about what you have, and you start to build here. But this week, basketball practice gets started. I believe that starts on Tuesday. I'll have a midweek episode here to talk about basketball, talk about some questions entering practice ahead of one of the most anticipated seasons in Purdue history, which we've been saying a lot lately. So send me over some hoops questions. Then after the bye week, we'll have the midweek episode next week to talk a little bit about where Purdue is big picture after 4 games and preview the Illini. Send me over your hoops questions. Send me over your football questions. Twitter @BoilersBeyond. Email boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. I appreciate you all for listening. Thank you very much. Enjoy the bye week, guys. That's a great football Saturday this coming week. Enjoy it. We will talk later this week about some hoops. Until then, take care.